We're an aging population. More and more people need care. And, the reality is we obviously work in the aged care space. We're under no illusions. Nobody chooses to go into aged care. Aged care is not a choice. It's a necessity. You go into care when you need 24/7 care available. That's just happening more and more. And the trend is people are staying at home longer and they're going into care later.
Well, Michael, since November the 1st, 2025, there'll be a seismic shift taking place in the aged care industry. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so there are new regulations coming in for residential aged care in Australia and home care as well. But specifically for aged care, we've had the same Aged Care Act since 2014, and it's now being updated in November 1st, 2025. It was meant to come into play the 1st of July, but got pushed back until the 1st of November. The premise of the new act is that aged care in Australia is not a profitable industry. The latest figures that came out, I think 30% of facilities roughly are running at a loss. In the quarter before that, it was closer to 50%. But overall, a lot of facilities are losing money. If you think about it, it's because your revenue is capped by the government and your expenses and your overheads are rising, as with every industry in Australia. So the government has sort of said, okay, well, we need aged care to be profitable. We're an aging population and we need more beds to be built, or more facilities to be built with more beds in Australia. So we need to change the funding model for aged care. And the government is taking on more of that responsibility. They're chipping in more. But what's relevant for, I guess, the resident or the consumer is the government is also asking the consumer to pay more. So the underlying impact is that people will be paying more for aged care after November 1st.
And so I understand all self-funded retirees will have to pay between $20,000 and $50,000 more per year.
Yeah, that's our estimate. Somewhere in that ballpark. It varies greatly depending on a number of factors, the facility you're looking at, the room within that facility, and then, of course, what your means are. So we live in a fantastic country and that nobody is denied an aged care bed, but the government is essentially saying those that can afford it will be paying more for their care. And broadly, that could fall anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 more per year.
Well, how does this affect part pensioners?
So part pensioners will still be paying more. It's built in a sliding scale. So if you're considered to be low means, which means you have roughly less than $200,000 to your name and you don't own a home, you won't be paying more for your care. And then as you go up from there, so part pensioners, some of them will pay more. The full pensioners, a few will pay more. And then obviously self-funded retirees will pay more as well. But pretty much everyone will be paying more for their care if you enter after November 1st than if you'd entered before November 1st.
Now, as I understand it, this will require facility owners to invest in the sector?
Well, somewhat. It won't necessarily require facility owners to invest in the sector, but the premise is that they want more facilities to be built. So that the main statistics, and I'm using slightly rounded figures here, but there's approximately 200,000 beds in Australia at the moment in aged care. By 2050, which is not far away, about 25 years from now, they're estimating that we'll need about 800,000 beds. So, 300% growth there. So, and beds just aren't being built. Facilities are closing down faster than new ones are being built. So they want more facilities to build beds. And that's why the government's trying to make it a profitable industry to encourage investment in the industry.
Oh, so, that's quite a massive growth rate, isn't it? Sort of something like 300%?
Yeah, correct. We're an aging population. More and more people need care. And, the reality is we obviously work in the aged care space. We're under no illusions. Nobody chooses to go into aged care. Aged care is not a choice. It's a necessity. You go into care when you need 24/7 care available. And so that's just happening more and more. And the trend is people are staying at home longer and they're going into care later. The government has also put a whole heap of money and investment into home care, into allowing people to stay at their homes as long as they can, which is great for everyone. It's great for the government too. It's a lot cheaper to keep people, care for them in their home than it is to fund them in an aged care facility. But ultimately, more and more people are ending up in aged care, and we're an aging population, so we're just going to need more beds.
But, there's going to be a whole lot of issues around, say, refundable accommodation deposits, daily accommodation payments, hoteling supplements, higher everyday living fees, and non-clinical care contributions.
Yeah.
Walk me past those.
Yeah, I could do that. So a lot of acronyms, a lot of terms in this industry, and we say to people, don't be hard on yourself. There's no reason for you to be up at night researching aged care until all of a sudden mum or dad have a fall and then it's thrust upon you. We've had, top doctors, lawyers, accountants, you name it, in our office, all equally as confused and bewildered by all those terms and acronyms as anyone else. So I'd say there's two key changes coming in after November 1st and then a number of minor changes. The two key changes are number one is the refundable accommodation deposit that you mentioned. That is essentially the bond you pay for an aged care bed. It can range anywhere from $300,000 up to about $2 million, depending on the facility you're looking at in the room within that facility. If I'm going to use $1 million as an example, just for a round figure, which is quite common. If you were to enter today and pay that $1 million bond, when your parent passes or the resident that's in care passes, you get that full $1 million back. It's entirely refundable at the moment. Under the new November 1 legislation, the facility retains 2% per year, up to a maximum of 10% over 5 years. So using the dollar example, you pay $1 million today, you get the full $1 million back. If you entered after November 1st and pay your $1 million, and your mum or dad is there for 5 years, you get back $900,000. The facility's retaining 10% of that. So that's a pretty significant chunk. The second major change is the non-clinical care contribution, NCCC. It used to be called a means tested fee, or it's currently called a means tested fee. It changes to an NCCC after November 1st. That is a fee that the government is asking you to pay based on your means. That's a means tested fee. It currently has a lifetime cap of roughly $84,000. That cap is increasing to $130,000, approximately a $50,000 increase there, which means if you have means, so you're self-funded or even some part pensioners, you're going to be paying $50,000 more for that fee over the course of your time in care. There's a number of other minor changes as well, but those are the two major ones.
Right. Okay. So I mean that's quite massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The underlying summary, as you sort of mentioned at the start, is people will be paying more for their care. Not only will they be paying more, it's getting more confusing. Unfortunately, as with any government-run industry, there's a number of different acronyms and strategies and scenarios that you need to consider when you're entering aged care, and ultimately how you choose to fund your care, whether it be selling the house, paying the daily interest, your kids being generous and assisting with some of your fees. All of that is going to have an impact on your inflows and your outflows. So what you're going to have to pay and what your fees are, as well as what entitlements you're eligible to and what pension you could receive.
All this creates huge layers of complexity, doesn't it?
It does. And that's sort of what services like us are here to do, is hold your hand and guide you through that process. It's obviously a very emotional time as well. You're moving your parents into aged care, and you don't necessarily have the headspace or the clarity to make really complex decisions, and these decisions need to be made pretty rapidly, often in a time of immense turmoil. So what we do is guide you through that process and explain to you the different choices you have and the pros and cons of each of those choices, so the family can make an informed decision for what suits them best.
But the whole family would have to make that decision.
The family does make the decision. It sort of depends what capacity that the elderly resident is in. We do sometimes see people come to us and say, I want to make this decision before it's taking it out of my hands. So they're planning a few years in advance. Typically, the common people that we see come to us is the children of the residents after mum or dad is had a fall or in hospital. And, the reality is that at some point in the future, these funds that we're talking about are going to be passed out to the future generation. So that's a consideration as well. And the family makes the decision to obviously the best way to fund care, but also the best way to sort of set themselves up for the future.
That creates a whole lot of family dynamics that go with it, doesn't it?
Certainly does. It's a difficult industry to play in. Unfortunately, we have circumstances where we'll have 3 kids come in, and one wants the best for mum and dad, one wants the maximum inheritance, and the other one is just playing on the phone and wants to get out of the meeting as quickly as possible. So it's tricky, and that's where sort of objective information can be really helpful to say, okay, these are your 3 options, and this is what it's going to cost you depending which way you go, so that they can make a decision without ideally some of the emotion being involved.
Which would also require the work of lots of lawyers and accountants, I'd imagine.
Yeah, typically we work with partners such as lawyers and accountants. Wills, power of attorneys, all that stuff is outside of our remit, but it's part of the journey of aging. Accountants as well, setting up inheritance and tax, all that sort of stuff. So we'll work together with people's a team of experts, I guess, to understand what they've got and how they want to set everything up. And we sort of just play our role there, specifically in the aged care space, to say, this is what it's going to cost you based on the different choices you have.
Right, okay. And that's all with everyone providing advice?
Yeah, in the area that they have the expertise, you sort of do need a team in this industry, and world of compliance today, everyone can only speak about the things that they are experts in. So we're only experts in that aged care space. We have a very niche offering, but it's a very important one in this process.
Well, in effect, you work as kind of like a broker.
Not quite. We're aged care advisors. And we're specifically just to advise on this aged care space. I think potentially what you're touching on there, because our offering is so niche and specialised, we've met people along the journey that do complementary things to us. So we say to people, there's sort of two sides to moving into aged care. There's what's it going to cost you, but more importantly, there's the clinical side.
Right.
So we'll often refer out to nurses or experts in that space, because more important than what it's going to cost is this the right place to look after mum and dad? Importantly, now and into the future. As their condition progresses, you need to know that the facility that they're entering has the capability to look after them as they decline.
Well, Michael, that's all quite fascinating and illuminating. And thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks very much, Leon.
Thank you. Thank you.